In the dark forests of Eastern Europe, there once lived a ruler whose name filled enemies with pure terror. Some called him a monster. Others called him a hero. But history remembers him as Vlad the Impaler, the man who inspired the legend of Dracula. But who was he really? Beginning of the story. The story begins in the 15th century in a small kingdom known as Wallachia. This land stood between powerful empires, constantly threatened by invasion. Vlad was born into a noble family, but his childhood was far from peaceful. As a young boy, he was taken hostage by the powerful Ottoman Empire. There, he learned about power, fear, and survival. These experiences would shape the ruler he would later become. Rise to power. Years later, Vlad returned to Wallachia and claimed the throne. But ruling this land was not easy. Enemies surrounded him, both inside and outside his kingdom. To protect his rule, Vlad developed a terrifying method of punishment. He ordered criminals and enemies to be impaled on wooden stakes. Thousands suffered this brutal fate. Because of this, Vlad earned the name the Impaler. The Forest of the Dead. One of the most famous stories about Vlad happened when an army from the Ottoman Empire marched to invade his land. When the enemy soldiers arrived near the capital, they saw something horrifying. Thousands of bodies were displayed on wooden stakes across the fields. The terrifying sight shocked the invading army and weakened their morale. Vlad had used fear itself as a weapon. Legacy. Over time, stories about Vlad spread across Europe. Some people described him as a cruel tyrant. Others believed he was a brave defender of his land. Centuries later, a writer named Bram Stoker used Vlad as inspiration for the famous vampire character Count Dracula. And that is how a real historical ruler became one of the most famous legends in the world. Ending. The story of Vlad the Impaler reminds us that history is often more complex than legends. Heroes and villains are sometimes the same person, depending on who tells the story. If you enjoy powerful and mysterious stories from history, subscribe to Velmora History and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. Because history is full of secrets waiting to be discovered.